The story begins on a distant, desolate planet, barely holding a place on the galactic map. This is the weakest colony Earth has ever established, a place so harsh and unforgiving that no one really believes it will survive. Known officially as Outpost Epsilon 9, the colony was set up decades ago as a remote mining and research station. But over time, it became clear that the planet's resources were scarce, its atmosphere hostile, and its strategic value minimal. Slowly, Earth's attention and funding drifted away, leaving behind a small, isolated population struggling to endure. Outpost Epsilon 9 is a grim place. Rusted habitats, makeshift farms struggling in poor soil, and a fragile power grid kept, barely alive by aging solar arrays and salvaged tech. The air is thin and bitter. Dust storms sweep across the barren landscape, and supplies arrive infrequently, sometimes months apart. This colony is a shadow of Earth's former ambitions, a forgotten speck at the edge of humanity's reach. The inhabitants themselves are a hardy breed. Many are descendants of the original colonists, born into hardship and resilience. They have learned to survive with limited technology, jury-rigging old machines and reusing scraps to keep the colony functioning. Their lives are a delicate balance of maintenance, foraging, and managing scarce resources. Trust and cooperation are vital. Every person's contribution matters, no matter how small. Leading the colony is Commander Rhea Voss, a seasoned veteran with a pragmatic mind and fierce dedication to her people. Rhea is in her late 30s with weathered features that speak to years under harsh suns and endless responsibility. She inherited the leadership role not through political appointment, but because she's the one who kept the colony alive when others doubted it could be done. Alongside her is a small council of engineers, medics, and security officers, each chosen for their loyalty and competence. Despite their isolation, the colonists maintain a strong sense of community. They gather regularly in the communal hall, a sized, patched-up structure made from salvaged metal and glass, to share news, plan repairs, and hold occasional celebrations. Stories of old Earth and distant worlds pass between generations, mixing with jokes and the occasional spark of hope that their colony will one day be noticed again. Yet beneath the surface of everyday struggle, an undercurrent of unease grows. Recent sensor reports have picked up strange signals near the outer reaches of their solar system. These signals don't match any known friendly ships or trade vessels. Rhea studies these readings with a growing sense of urgency, sharing her concerns with the council. Some urge caution, believing the colony should focus only on survival, but Rhea insists on preparation. She orders the defensive systems tested and weapons readied, despite knowing their arsenal is outdated and limited. Meanwhile, flashbacks reveal why Earth abandoned the colony in the first place. Political decisions made at the central government prioritized richer, more resourceful planets. Epsilon 9 was deemed a lost cause, Earth's weakest link, officials called it quietly. The colony became a symbol of neglect and abandonment, a test of humanity's resolve to survive even without support. As the first part closes, tension hangs heavy in the air. The colonists understand their vulnerability all too well. They are weak, isolated, and outgunned. But they are also determined, not just to survive, but to prove that even the forgotten outpost can stand tall when the galaxy's dark storm comes, crashing down. The stage is set for an epic confrontation, where underdogs will rise to challenge fate itself. As the story moves forward, the tension gripping outpost Epsilon 9 tightens with ominous warning signs. The fragile peace the colony has known is shattered by the first clear indication that something hostile is approaching their system. The part opens with the colony's sensor technicians monitoring faint but unusual signals detected near the outer edges of their solar system. The signals are irregular, unlike anything they've seen from standard trading ships or Earth's patrols. The tech team works tirelessly to analyze the patterns, running scans and comparing data, but the nature of the signals remains mysterious and troubling. They suspect these are reconnaissance drones or scout ships belonging to a potential enemy, an alien force whose presence the colony has never encountered before. Commander Rhea Voss is immediately alerted and gathers the colony's Leadership Council. The mood is somber. Many have feared this day but hoped it would never come. The council debates the best course of action. Some members, burdened by years of scarcity and hardship, argue that the colony has no hope of withstanding a full-scale attack and suggest attempting to send distress signals to Earth or even evacuate if possible. Others, including Rhea, stress the importance of preparing for defense. Every weapon tested, every trap set, every resource must be ready for the worst. The colony's limited arsenal and worn-down defenses are painfully apparent in this moment. Their weapons are outdated, mostly repurposed Earth tech left behind in earlier expansions, inefficient against the advanced technology of the potential invaders. Their power supply is inconsistent, and many of the automated defense turrets need constant maintenance. Despite this, the colony begins hurried preparations. Civilians are trained in basic combat drills, security forces conduct weapon checks, and engineers scramble to improve sensor range and repair shielding. In quiet moments between the hustle, the story flashes back to reveal the political realities behind the colony's neglect. Earth's central government had long ago classified Epsilon 9 as a low-priority zone. With limited resources, decision-makers focused on prosperous colonies rich in minerals and strategic value. Epsilon 9's harsh environment and minimal resources branded it the weakest colony, deemed a lost cause. Relief missions were delayed or canceled and trade ships became rare. Colonists became painfully aware that they were largely on their own, an outpost abandoned in the vastness of space. Yet despite the neglect, the colony's people harbor a fierce pride and a determination to survive. Their sense of community and resilience becomes more apparent as they prepare for the looming threat. Families share stories of past hardships and small victories, bolstering morale. The youngest, born into hardship, listen wide-eyed as elders recount tales of survival against impossible odds. The communal hall buzzes with a mixture of fear and hope, a place where courage begins to kindle. The looming threat forces every colonist to confront the precariousness of their existence. Supplies are rationed more strictly, emergency protocols drilled repeatedly, and every person is reminded that their survival depends on unity and quick thinking. Rhea personally visits families and workers, inspiring them with steely resolve and empathy, reinforcing that they are not merely forgotten, they are humanity's first and last line of defense on this forsaken world. As this part closes, the mysterious signals intensify, becoming impossible to ignore. The colony's scouts report unidentified ships entering the system's perimeter. The realization dawns. The attack they feared is imminent. The colonists brace themselves, knowing they are about to face a threat far beyond anything they have encountered, a true test of their courage, wit, and will to survive. The tension that has been steadily building in Outpost Epsilon 9 finally erupts into chaos as the invasion begins. The colony, already strained by years of neglect and limited resources, faces a sudden and overwhelming assault from a technologically superior alien force. This part captures the raw panic, desperation, and fierce determination of the colonists as they confront the enemy head-on. It starts in the dead of night when surveillance sensors pick up multiple fast-moving ships entering the colony's orbital space. The invaders are hostile and intent on rapid conquest. Their ships, sleek and heavily armed, deploy a barrage of plasma weapons that light up the colony's sky like deadly fireworks. Outpost Epsilon 9's early warning systems barely give the colonists enough time to scramble into defensive positions before the first salvo strikes. The colony's defenses, already outdated and poorly maintained, are quickly overwhelmed. Automated turrets sputter and fail. Energy shields flicker under sustained fire. Panic spreads among the colonists, but Commander Rhea Voss rallies her people, issuing orders with calm authority despite the chaos. Her voice carries through comms, reminding everyone to hold their ground, focus on survival, and protect civilians. The invaders begin landing troops, elite alien soldiers who move with ruthless efficiency, deploying advanced weaponry and technology that outmatch the colony's hand-me-down gear, but the colonists refuse to surrender. Utilizing their intimate knowledge of the planet's terrain, They spring ambushes and booby traps in narrow canyons and rugged hills, exploiting every natural advantage they can find. Small groups of defenders, armed mostly with scavenged rifles and improvised explosives, execute guerrilla tactics that slow the enemy's advance. They use abandoned mining tunnels and underground caves as cover, launching surprise attacks and disappearing before the invaders can respond. These hit-and-run tactics inflict frustrating losses on the aliens and buy precious time. Despite their technological inferiority, the colony's fighting spirit shines through. The civilian population pitches in. Farmers and engineers become impromptu medics and messengers, helping to evacuate the wounded and coordinate movements. The communal bond forged over years of hardship becomes a force multiplier, turning what seemed like a hopeless situation into a fierce all-hands defense. At the same time, the story dives deeper into the emotional landscape of the colonists. Fear, anger, and grief collide with hope and courage. We see the youngest fighters stepping up, inexperienced but fearless, alongside veterans whose experience is tempered by years of survival. Commander Ria's internal struggle unfolds as well. Her burden of leadership weighs heavily, knowing the colony's fate may rest on these desperate hours. The alien invaders grow frustrated by the unexpectedly fierce resistance. Their initial strategy to overwhelm quickly is failing, forcing them to commit more resources and manpower. But the colony's defenses remain fragile, and every minute counts as the invaders seek to break the lines. By the end of Part 3, the colony's situation seems dire. Their outer defenses are breached and the alien troops are pressing inward. The colonists have suffered casualties, and exhaustion threatens to erode their will. Yet amidst the destruction, a spark of defiance remains, a determination not to go quietly, setting the stage for a surprising and dramatic shift in the battle to come. As the invasion drags on and outpost Epsilon 9 teeters on the brink of destruction, a sudden shift changes the course of the battle. Just when it seems the alien invaders will overwhelm the colony's fragile defenses, Commander Ria Voss unveils a secret plan, a bold gambit fueled by desperation, ingenuity, and years of preparation. This moment marks the turning point that will redefine the fate of the weakest colony. The part opens with the colony's defenders retreating to a predetermined fallback position, a fortified section of the old mining complex deep underground. It's a place few outsiders know about. A hidden sanctuary built decades earlier during the colony's early days, now long abandoned and mostly forgotten. The complex is rugged but offers significant tactical advantages. Narrow tunnels, choke points, and hidden caches of old Earth technology stored away by previous colonists. Ria gathers her closest officers and reveals the existence of this secret arsenal, prototype weapon systems and experimental defense devices developed long ago but never fully deployed because of lack of resources and support. Over the years, the colonists have maintained and repaired these relics, adapting them with scavenged parts and innovative modifications. Among these are energy pulse cannons, automated drone swarms, and electromagnetic traps capable of disabling enemy electronics. The colonists' morale surges as they realize they are not as helpless as they feared. Ria organizes a coordinated counterattack designed to exploit the invaders' overconfidence and lack of familiarity with the planet's terrain. The plan involves luring the enemy forces deeper into the underground complex, where their numbers and advanced technology will be less effective against guerrilla tactics and the colony's hidden defenses. As the invaders push forward, they fall into the trap. The narrow tunnels limit their maneuverability, and the energy pulse cannons unleash devastating bursts that cripple their vehicles and disrupt their communications. Drone swarms swarm the enemy troops, sowing confusion and forcing them into disorganized retreats. Electromagnetic traps shut down power suits and energy weapons, leveling the playing field. Throughout this sequence, the colonists fight with renewed vigor and unity. Civilians who had been hiding join the fight, carrying supplies, tending to the wounded, and relaying critical information. Engineers work feverishly to keep the experimental systems online, improvising repairs under fire. Every person's contribution counts, turning the tide from defense to offense. This turning point is also deeply personal for Ria. She reflects on the sacrifices made by previous generations and the resilience that built this colony. Her leadership, resourcefulness, and unyielding belief in her people inspire hope where there was none. She coordinates strikes that target the alien command units and supply lines, creating chaos within the invaders' ranks. As the battle rages underground, the alien forces suffer mounting casualties and begin losing their cohesion. Their initial confidence turns to desperation as they realize this weak colony has become a formidable adversary. The invaders attempt to regroup and call for reinforcements, but the colony's sudden resurgence has disrupted their plans. The part closes on a high note, with the colony regaining control over key sections of the complex and pushing the invaders back. The invaders are forced to fall back to regroup, giving the colonists a precious moment to breathe, reorganize, and prepare for the final confrontation. The turning point has arrived, and with it, a renewed hope that the weakest colony might not only survive but prevail. With the tide of battle shifted in their favor, Outpost Epsilon 9's colonists brace themselves for the ultimate confrontation. The alien invaders, shaken by their unexpected losses and the colony's fierce resistance, are regrouping for a last, desperate assault. This part captures the raw intensity and heroic determination of the colonists as they prepare to make their final stand. A fight that will decide the fate of their home and perhaps send a powerful message across the galaxy. The story opens with the colony's leadership holding an emergency council deep within the fortified underground complex. Commander Rhea Voss outlines the situation. The enemy is consolidating forces for a decisive push, likely to overwhelm the colony once and for all. Despite limited ammunition, damaged infrastructure, and exhausted fighters, Rhea stresses that surrender is not an option. The colony must fight with every ounce of strength, creativity, and unity to defend what little they have. The colonists quickly mobilize. Engineers and scavengers rush to salvage and repair whatever equipment they can find. Civilians reinforce barricades, set traps, and stockpile medical supplies. Young fighters train relentlessly, honing guerrilla tactics and preparing to exploit every advantage the planet's terrain offers. This moment highlights the colony's extraordinary cohesion, a society forged through hardship, where every individual is willing to risk everything for the collective survival. Meanwhile, the alien invaders launch a series of probing attacks, testing the colony's defenses and seeking weak points. These skirmishes are fierce and brutal, with heavy casualties on both sides. Yet each failed assault strengthens the colonists' resolve and sharpens their tactics. They learn from every encounter, adapting quickly and using their intimate knowledge of the terrain to outmaneuver the technologically superior foe. Amid the chaos, personal stories of courage and sacrifice unfold. A young recruit who lost family in the initial attacks steps up to lead a critical ambush. An engineer risks her life to restore power to a crucial weapon system. Commander Rhea herself leads from the front lines, inspiring her people with her unyielding spirit and tactical brilliance. These moments deepen the emotional connection to the characters, showing that victory will come at great cost, but is worth every sacrifice. The climax of this part centers on the decisive battle within the colony's main defensive perimeter. The invaders pour in waves of soldiers and mechanized units, but the colonists unleash their secret weapons: improvised explosive devices, energy pulse cannons, and coordinated drone strikes. The fight is fierce and chaotic, with firefights erupting in every corner of the settlement. Despite the aliens' overwhelming firepower, the colony's unity and tactical ingenuity turn the battle into a slaughter of the invaders. The narrow streets and tunnels become killing grounds where familiar terrain becomes a deadly advantage. The colonists use hit-and-run tactics, coordinated ambushes, and the element of surprise to devastating effect. As the dust settles, the alien forces begin a full retreat, their morale shattered by the unexpected ferocity and precision of the colony's defense. The victory is hard-won and costly, with the colony suffering losses that will take years to recover from. But the invaders are driven from their home, and Outpost Epsilon 9 stands victorious. Part 5 ends on a powerful note of triumph and reflection. The colony is battered but unbroken. Commander Rhea and her people know this victory is not just survival, It is a statement to the galaxy that even the weakest colony can become the fiercest defender when pushed to the edge. The dust settles over Outpost Epsilon 9, and the echoes of battle begin to fade. The colony that was once dismissed as weak and insignificant has survived a brutal invasion, and in doing so, shattered the galaxy's assumptions about humanity's most vulnerable frontier. This final part reflects on the consequences of the conflict, the scars it leaves, and the legacy it forges, not only for the colony itself, but for the wider interstellar community. The story opens with the colony's survivors emerging from their underground refuge into a battered but still standing settlement. The destruction is immense, buildings reduced to rubble, power grids flickering, supply caches burned or looted. Yet, amid the devastation, the human spirit remains unbroken. Colonists begin the painstaking work of rebuilding, tending to the wounded, and honoring those who sacrificed their lives. The sense of community, forged through hardship and trial, grows even stronger in these moments of shared recovery. Commander Rhea Voss, though exhausted and bearing the physical and emotional scars of leadership, is hailed as a hero. Her decisive actions and unshakable resolve transformed despair into victory. But Rhea's focus remains on the future, on ensuring that the colony can withstand future threats and flourish despite Earth's neglect. She leads initiatives to fortify defenses, improve communications with Earth, and expand the colony's infrastructure, turning the hard-earned lessons of the invasion into practical plans. News of the battle and the colony's stunning victory spreads across the galaxy, stirring surprise and respect. Other colonies, long resigned to accepting Earth's marginalization of Epsilon 9, begin to look differently at the once overlooked outpost. The alien invaders, too, are forced to reconsider their assessments. Their failure to quickly subdue the colony becomes a cautionary tale, an example of how underestimated humanity can be a dangerous adversary. Amid the broader political consequences, the story also explores the personal aftermath for the colonists. Families rebuild their lives amidst ruins. Young fighters who survived the battle face the challenges of healing and returning to civilian life. The trauma and loss are palpable, but so is a renewed hope and pride. The colony's tale becomes a powerful narrative of resilience, courage, and unity, shared in stories, songs, and celebrations. Importantly, the colonists begin advocating for greater support and recognition from Earth's government. They argue that their victory proves the strategic value of investing in even the most vulnerable colonies. Rhea and her council communicate with Earth, sending detailed reports and requests, hoping that the sacrifices made will finally bring overdue attention and resources. The story closes with a poignant scene looking forward, a new generation of colonists growing up in a colony transformed by trial and triumph. Children play among rebuilt structures, unaware of the horrors their parents endured but inspired by the legends of bravery that now define their home. Outpost Epsilon 9 stands as a beacon of hope and a testament to the indomitable human spirit. In the final lines, the narrator reflects on the irony of the colony once deemed the weakest in the galaxy having defeated a superior alien force in just 7 minutes. This victory is not just a military success. It is a rebuke to complacency and a declaration that humanity's strength often lies in unity, resilience, and heart, even in the face of overwhelming odds.